Good morning, and welcome to another inspiring episode of the Good Morning Minute podcast, where we start the day with purpose, passion, and a little bit of power. I'm your host, Angelina Mojica, and today's conversation is part of our special series in partnership with the Empower Her Steps virtual conference, a movement rooted in helping women rise, heal, and walk boldly into the life God has designed for them. Our mission is simple yet powerful, empowering a life purpose, because we believe that when a woman finds clarity in her calling, everything changes for her family, her community, and the generations to come. So friends, grab your coffee, take a deep breath, and get ready to be uplifted as we dive into real stories, honest lessons, and bold steps towards purpose with our incredible guest today, and that is Eleanor. Eleanor, thank you so much for being a part of our show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. So I know I got to learn a little bit about you through your bio, but why don't you take just a few seconds and introduce yourself to our listeners?
Well, thank you. So my name is Eleanor Brown. Most people call me Ellie. Either one is fine. And I am a licensed professional counselor, and I have been doing this for just a little under 10 years. And I have a podcast, I have a book that I wrote, mother, grandmother, proud puppy owner, all the things. But most importantly, I'm someone who has overcome some junk and just really trying to walk in my purpose that God has called me to.
Wonderful. Well, hey, like you, I too am a grandmother. And so you do not look like a grandmother at all. Let me just say that out there right now. Very beautiful woman.
Thank
So
you.
Uh, so before we get started, Eleanor, I'd like to just start off with a fun little icebreaker question. And my question to you today is, are you more of a sunrise or sunset person?
I probably am more of a sunrise person. When I get up,
Mhm.
I'm up and ready to go. By evening, I'm like the Energizer Bunny-ish. I go, 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 and then I drop. I'm done.
Uh,
So if I drop in the evening, I'm not catching the sunset.
you're ready to call it a day.
Yeah.
Well, oh, well, awesome. Okay, well, let's just go ahead and get into the heart of our conversation. And I'm just going to ask you, Eleanor, what was a defining moment of challenge or pain in your life, and how did it impact you?
Yeah. Well, like most of us, I've been through a lot in my life. Childhood trauma. I've been through a couple of marriages that I didn't quite get right, and I would say a pivotal moment of my healing. It was definitely a pain point for me. Uh, my husband and I, my now husband, uh, he and I were having a conversation, and I just was really feeling the pull to get into counseling and help other people
Mhm.
kind of move past some of the things that they'd been through in their life, because I had found a level of healing. Now, we're all still walking that journey, but I had found a level, and I was really struggling with my voice. The shame says that you don't have anything good to say, those kind of things. I was really struggling with this.
Mhm.
And my husband very tenderly took my face in his hands, and he said, "You have something to say. People need to hear." And then he put his hand here. People need to hear what's in here. And something
Wow.
shifted. It was like I heard him for the first time.
Mhm.
And maybe there was a maybe people want to hear what I have to say.
Mhm.
It,
Wow. And as you're saying that, let me just express, I feel it. I feel the chills going down my arm. What an empowering moment. And even then you're still trying to deny, right? You're still trying to deny.
yes,
Wow. Okay. Go. Yeah. I didn't mean to interrupt. So finish. Yeah,
no,
finish.
no. So, I mean, that gave me the courage
Yeah.
to go back to school. And in my latter years, I say latter years, I was in my mid 40s at the time.
Mm.
So yes, I am grandmother material. But I was in my mid 40s, so I went back to school and I got my master's degree in professional counseling, and that gave me the push that I needed because I really struggled with my children would finish my sentences. I couldn't get through a thought. And that thought would come into my head as I was speaking. No one really wants to hear what you have to say. And so it would
Mm.
shut me down. So speaking one on one to someone and helping them through life challenges was, so I don't know if I can do that. So
Wow.
I went to school, I got my degree, and then I got out there and I started working. And then I hit another wall. And it's like, I don't know, I kept coming back to that
Hmm.
shame piece. No one wants to hear what you have to say. And uh, that I really reached a point um, where I had to find my voice. And him speaking life into me in that moment really helped me start the process of finding my voice.
Wow, that's so insightful because I want to ask, do you come from a generation of children should be seen, not heard?
So there's a funny story that goes with that.
Okay.
And I actually I'm a part of Toastmasters because I struggle with speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave this speech there, but it was all about finding my voice. And part of that was when I was a child, I used to talk a lot. Now, at this point, I was probably 7, maybe 8. I'd already been being abused for at least 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would talk out of nervousness, out of a desire for positive attention.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so much that the parents or the adults in my life would pay me to be quiet. And it sounds kind of funny if you don't understand trauma. And
Right.
it's like no one wants to hear you. They'll pay you to shut up. And so
Right.
that really taught me to shut it down. No one wants to hear what you
Yeah.
have to say.
Oh, wow. That
Yeah.
Oh, my heart hurts for you because I can just imagine. I grew up in a generation where children are seen and not heard. And so
Yeah.
like anytime we were kind of like, go to your room, or anytime we went somewhere else, it was kind of shoved into that back room with all the other kids and kind of forgotten about until we were ready to go home. So I can
Yeah.
just imagine, the hardship behind trying to even just do some daily day functions, like making appointments. Like you said, your kids had to speak for you and finish your sentences because you could
Yeah.
you couldn't get it out. Wow. Man, okay. And so what did you do to start? I know you mentioned Toastmasters now, but what was part of that healing process for you? I mean, your husband did like this
Yeah.
pivotal moment for you,
Right.
touching your face
Yeah.
with his hands and saying, people need to hear you.
Right.
And so a lot of shifting happened there, getting back into school and whatnot. But what were part of the healing process? Because now you've got to fix what's in here, right? What your
Right.
self-talk is telling you. So what was
Yes.
that like for you?
Well, there was many moments, kind of defining moments,
Hmm.
the him with the hands. And there was a prophet that came to our church one day,
Hmm.
and I had always struggled with my self-worth. And I think that very much ties into all of this is the self-worth piece.
Hmm.
And out of probably 1,500 people, he singles me out. He says, "You in the white dress." And I'm turning around looking for another woman in the room with a white dress because he can't be talking to me because I'm just a nobody. I mean, that
Hmm.
was the thought that was going through my head at the time.
Hmm.
And he had a scripture from Isaiah, I believe it was 3:10. It says, "Tell the righteous it will be well with them." And it was just that moment where God cared enough about me to put this prophet here in front of us and speak in front of 1,500 people that not only was I worth speaking to, he was calling me righteous.
Hmm.
And then, I mean, that was such a big moment. It was really helping me see who God saw me as. And that
Hmm.
was so big in understanding my purpose and finding a way to really lean into my power. I
Yeah.
had to understand my identity and who God was calling me to be. And that was foundational. Larry speaking to me, my husband speaking to me, that was foundational.
Hmm.
Writing my story, That was a big one. I wrote a book that I
Mhm.
had no intentions of writing, had no intentions of, once we were going to write the book, I was not going to put my story in it. And I put my story in it. And that was a big healing moment for me because I was able to look back at that. Growing up, my trauma was, we all dealt with it. Everybody had trauma. We all the cousins were passed around. That was just a thing.
Mhm.
I mean, we just accepted that's the way men were. That's
Mhm.
not the way men are. And I had to get to a point where that wasn't acceptable. I had to understand that the childhood was not normal. And a lot of times we think it is normal, and
Mhm.
that keeps us trapped in its own set of traumas. But,
Yeah.
so those three pieces, understanding what I went through wasn't normal, understanding who God was calling me to be, and understanding that I had something of value to say to people.
Mm.
So none of them can stand alone. They're so intertwined in my healing process.
And there's such big like milestones because you were at the right place, at the right time to receive that word of encouragement. It's almost like, okay, I took 5 steps. I'm starting to doubt myself again. And then the Lord steps in and he's like,
Yeah,
no, keep
yeah,
going. And then, your story and writing the book and things like that. And it's like, no, keep going. I- that's why I'm doing this is because I feel like our stories are so impactful. Like we need to be set free from the things that have hurt us, the things that have held us back, especially as women,
yes,
especially as women. But to be able to, the truth will set you free, to be able to tell the truth, be able to tell, what happened to us and inspire others to step into their healing journey,
right, yeah,
that's why we're doing these things and helping others and not being because you mentioned shame and guilt, a lot of shame and guilt. And that's what the enemy tries to do is put the shame and guilt through our childhood experiences or whatever else that,
right,
comes in our way to deceive us in believing we are what we're not. And God comes back and he does that correction. And I love that the moment where you're sitting in church and he's telling you
yeah,
directly, like
yes,
delivering this message, because I've had those moments in my life too where I receive direct messages from him. And internally through your spirit, you feel it like this is God talking to me.
yeah,
I get it.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Um, so through those pivoting moments in your life where you're healing and you see yourself growing through this season, when did you start sensing that, there's purpose on the other side of this pain?
Yeah. Well, there were there were many, many, many steps. There were steps that took me into therapy, and
Mm,
I therapy was a lifesaver for me. I needed faith and therapy, and I think so much of my life I tried to do one or the other,
mhm,
and it wasn't. It was not very successful. As there was a lot of church hurt. A lot of people, if you had enough faith, you'd be healed. If you forgave, you'd be healed. If you this, you would be healed. And minimizing the and not understanding. People just don't understand. They don't understand what they're
mhm,
saying is hurtful because they don't understand. If you've never been through trauma, especially as a young child, you don't know how it develops the brain. So
mhm,
that was really hard, and it took getting therapy from um, many different places. It wasn't even just one therapist. And it took getting that. It took really understanding who I was, who God was
mhm,
calling me to be, and understanding this gift of love that God gives us, and understanding that God is love. And I had seen God and it was probably because of my upbringing in and out of church, but I'd seen him as almost like this taskmaster, this
mhm,
overlord. He's going to punish me. And
mhm,
I hadn't seen the grace side of him, the personal relationship, and really understanding all of who God is, and understanding that I wasn't fundamentally flawed because early childhood trauma, any kind of childhood
mhm,
trauma, but especially sexual trauma, causes people to believe that they are dirty at a fundamental level. And I really believe that's why the Bible talks so much about
Mhm.
sexual sin, because it attacks the identity of the person. Um,
Mhm.
and when your identity is tainted, it's hard. I've suffered so much from shame. So
Mhm.
getting to the root of that and really working through that, whether it was through um, defining moments in church. I went to an inner healing
Mhm.
service one time, and it was so powerful. And there was a moment where they were giving mother hugs and father, and then another moment where they were giving father hugs.
Mhm.
I'd never been hugged by a man I mean, even my husband, it was always sexual, except for my children. But, they're children, they're not men, right?
Mhm.
And God is telling me to go up and get a hug from this man. And I'm like, my husband's right here. He's not going to appreciate that. And I had like 1,000 excuses. And I swear they kept playing songs.
Uh-huh.
I swear they kept playing songs just for me. But there was a healing that happened when I went up there and I got a hug from a man that wasn't sexual. So all of these things were so pivotal on the reaching a place of healing.
And it really is getting to the core, the core, where you were hurt,
Yeah.
that inner child, wow, that is so powerful. I just, again, I feel like all the chill bumps running through. It's
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
feel your story. Wow. But you talk about the shame, especially through sexual trauma. I mean, when we don't truly, when first of all, when we're experiencing sex in a traumatic way, yes,
Mhm.
we are hiding ourselves behind the fig leaves, right? Because it
Uh,
is dirty, it's
uh,
shameful. And even at such an early age, for us to internally understand that this isn't quite right. We don't know, developmentally, what's going on, or, depending on the age and that it's happening. But we still internally, in our spirit, we still feel like this is something that shouldn't be happening, but it is. And so it does. I mean, if we're not
yeah.
healing, it affects so much of us. And you mentioned, like, not being able to be held unless it was in a sexual manner, as an adult. And I feel that because I've been there. I definitely have had those encounters in my relationships and things like that. And it's hard. It is hard because you feel guilty afterwards too, because even as an adult now, you've got your education and stuff, and now you're like, oh wow, this is all of that. But for God to sit there and still slowly, as you're, growing through your own healing journey, still working with you very gently and just say, no, you've got to do this. It's okay. I'm there with you. I'm walking with you.
Right.
It's a
Yeah.
beautiful moment. Beautiful. So, how has your story, how has all of this shaped who you are today?
Well, my I want to say my goal in life is to help people, kind of free people. That saying, hurt people, and
Uh-huh.
free people. I had someone tell me once at a conference that I spoke on forgiveness, and she says, "You're living proof that God doesn't waste anything," and that was so powerful. And that's what I want. My tagline, if you will, is helping people move from simply surviving to
Mm-hmm.
thriving,
Mm-hmm.
because we get to a place, especially in the church world, where this
Yes.
is good enough. It's good enough. I'm saved. I've got my ticket. I'm
Yes.
good. Or I hide all of my mess because I have to be good. I need the church face, and I
Mm-hmm.
need to. Everything's perfect, and so I'm going to say everything is perfect, and come into my office, and I'm going to say, let's tear down that wall, and let's pull. I want to help people.
Yes.
People think that they can't look in the rearview mirror
Mm-hmm.
because they've been taught that, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if you don't deal with it, it will eventually deal with you. So we have to look in the rearview mirror just so we can deal with it. Not so we can live there, not so that we can stew. We're not making stew. We're dealing with it. We're healing. You have to feel it. You have to name it to tame it, feel it to heal it. You really have to feel it so that you can move past it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if not, it's always going to come up when your child does something that is a trigger, your husband, your, whatever, when people are people and people are messy. Your girlfriend doesn't call you back and all of a sudden you've carried this story in your mind that, they hate me and they don't want me around. And, you know,
Mhm.
there's so we have to walk into a level of healing. And
Mhm.
so that's really I really want to do is help people heal. And whether that's through one-on-one counseling, whether that's through conferences or speaking engagements or through books that I write, I really
Mhm.
want to help people heal.
Mm. I love that. And it's true. The thing that started spinning me into this direction of helping as I work in child welfare, and I've been doing so for the past 13 years, in different capacities. But uh, the thing that really sparked me was the starfish story where a little girl's throwing starfish back into the sea. And this man comes alongside her and he's like, well, there's starfish miles and miles on the seashore. There's no way you can impact every single one of them. And she slowly bends down, picks one up and tosses it into the ocean again. And she's like, no, but I made a difference for that one. And so then he joins her in this mission, right? That's what it's about. Because it isn't about trying to change an entire world or society single-handedly. No,
Right.
but to influence who we encounter, to influence and be impactful to those that we encounter in our day to day. So
Yeah.
I love that you share that as well.
Yeah.
So Eleanor, if someone is like sitting out there listening and going, oh my gosh, you're saying my story. I am where you once were. I'm in it right now. What kind of advice would you give that person?
I I would say find find someone to share your story with because
Hmm.
shame uh, does well when it's hidden, and we really have to bring it to the light. We have to see it, name
Hmm.
it, tame it. Um, whether you need therapy or not, that's a personal decision. But if you do, find a therapist. That doesn't mean that your faith isn't strong enough.
Hmm.
That means that you're using the tools that God gave you. And God gave us doctors. If we had a broken arm, we'd go to a doctor so that we could use it again. And we don't
Hmm.
do that when we have emotional wounds. We don't go to someone that can help us with the emotional wounds because we feel like we should be strong enough. So finding healing, um, and so that we can move past it because we have a responsibility to heal so that we can make an impact.
Yeah, yeah. Good advice. Very wise. Um, so Eleanor, now what is living with purpose look like for you now?
Well, so there's a lot of things. I give back wherever I can. I have the conferences, I wrote the books, I have a podcast, I do all kinds of things to give back. I also like to have fun and play, and I didn't used to do that. And I learned how to do pottery, and I love pottery. It's my passion. I love pottery, and so I have fun. I have koi fish, and I enjoy life. I travel. I do things, and I give. Like I said, I give back. I try to
Mm.
find a way to give back to my community, to people that are coming behind me that are struggling, to people that are where I am that want to go a
Mhm.
step further. Just trying to find a way to help.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. So as we get ready to kind of close out our conversation, I do have a few more questions, but one of them is of legacy and impact. If today were your last day, what would you want to be remembered for?
I would want to be remembered for someone who loved others well.
Mm.
You know, um, in in our hurt and our mess, sometimes we don't always do that. And
Mhm.
I'd like to think that in my latter years, I've done that better than I did in my former.
Mm. I love that. It also speaks to the spirit, the fruits of the spirit. Love is that foundation because through love, then you can have joy, peace, and all the other things come. Because
Yeah.
God is a God of order, and so it's very impactful. And even looking like scientifically, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That first thing is safety, security.
Uh-huh.
It's love. You have
Yeah.
to you
Yeah.
have to feel that in order to walk towards wholeness and regain who you truly are meant to be, who God created you to be, and function in that mindset is so freeing. And so for you to be out there going, yes, I want to help you do that. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, Eleanor, if someone was trying to figure out their purpose and you could leave them maybe a bit of truth or encouragement, what would it be?
So I want to answer that, so don't let me forget. But I just have
Oh,
to share
sure.
the fact that you said Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So the first book I wrote is all about Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Ah,
And
okay.
God woke me up in the middle of the night and told me to put scripture into Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Oh,
And
wow. Okay.
so I put scripture to Maslow's hierarchy of needs and set it to the side, and then it kept coming back up. And then I found a publisher and we worked on it. She's like, well, you need to put your story in there. And when I
Mm,
put my story in there in this book, you could see how not having my needs met at my developmental years, how that impacted and caused developmental trauma throughout my lifetime, having not having food, not having proper, shelter.
mm,
I was
mhm,
moving from house to house. And so all of those things, very impactful in my life. And I think the first thing that we have to do when we're looking toward healing is understanding what we've been through, where we've been.
mm.
So that's so important. It
Yeah.
really is. So now re-ask your question again.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I would get sidetracked too. My question is if you could leave a bit of truth or encouragement to someone who's still trying to figure out their purpose, what would it be?
I the first thing I would say is that you are enough already.
Mm-hmm.
We need to hear that. We need to know that. And um, we try so hard.
Mm-hmm.
We are, I don't know if it's an American thing, but we are a doing people. We're human beings, but we try to be human doings. So
Yes,
we're
I say that all the
constantly
time.
trying, yeah, we're constantly trying to prove our worth.
Yeah.
I'm guilty. I'm as guilty as the next person. When I understand that I can never do enough to be worthy enough of Christ
Mm-hmm.
going to the cross and dying, but he loves me. I don't
Mm.
need to do anything else. And if we can
Yeah.
understand love, we can we can pass it on because there's a level of understanding that we get to when we understand that we're
Mm-hmm.
enough as who we are and that God is love and that he has called us to love.
Mm-hmm.
All of the problems in the world would probably go away if we could just grab those two truths.
Woo, girl, yes, yes. I want to say yes, amen, hallelujah. It's true, and I'm vibing with you because I've said those exact same things, and I am a true believer that love is the foundation of everything, and that's so freeing when you can get to a point in your life and realize that. Wow. Okay, so Eleanor, if someone is like, "Oh yeah, I'm also vibing on the other side, listening," and wants to get in contact with you, how could they do so?
Well, I have a website, eleanorbrowncounseling.com. I have a podcast, A Better Way to Heal, where faith meets therapy. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I tried TikTok, not for me. Uh,
Yeah.
so those are some good ways to get in contact with me. Yeah, I've a couple of books out there, A Better Way to Heal, where whew, rewind, A Better Way. Uh, wow, my brain is, I'm so vibing in this.
Uh,
Integrating faith and psychology to heal inner wounds. That's a better way, integrating faith and psychology to heal inner wounds. Wow. And then I have another book, and it's a companion guide that goes along with the first one. When I've
uh-huh.
kind of learned some things, I created the companion guide to go with it.
Wonderful. Well, you've got a new subscriber to your YouTube podcast for sure.
Yay!
Yeah. So Eleanor, I just want to say thank you for sharing your heart, your story, and your light with us today. It's conversations like this that remind us that purpose isn't about perfection. It's about showing up and growing through the things that we go through and understanding that every step does matter. So here at the Good Morning Minute and through the Empower Her Steps movement, we believe every woman has a calling worth discovering and a voice worth using. So wherever you are today, friend, remember your purpose is powerful and you're not walking alone. Until next time, keep rising, keep trusting, and keep walking boldly into the life God has designed for you. I'm Angelina Mojica, your life coach, sending you much love, much peace, many blessings.